This video is going to be about fake performance mods, which means that someone is probably going to get pissed off, but the truth hurts, so get over it and let's begin. Performance chips from eBay, Craigslist, or wherever the heck you guys are finding these pieces of crap. Those $15 universal performance chips from these websites, they don't do smack. I can already feel some 16-year-old who's super upset and is fiercely typing in the comments about why I'm wrong, but let me tell you right now, stop and face facts. You got scammed. Put your car on a dyno, put it through any actual tests that yields factual results, and you will see that your car has changed in no way whatsoever. You are suffering from a case of placebo. You're telling yourself that it's changed because you spent money. You're so convinced that the money you've spent has caused a difference. But here's the thing. That $15 you spent is freaking pocket change to the amount of money you should be spending. This isn't your $400 PlayStation that you play your $60 copy of Call of Duty on. Cars are worth thousands of dollars that cost hundreds to repair, and mods for cars, at the minimum, cost in the hundreds. There is no cheap solution to easy power. When it comes to getting a proper performance tune, it's actually one of the cheapest upgrades you can get, costing anywhere from $150 to $400, so just save your money until you can afford an actual one. I know those prices may sound intimidating to a teenager, but you need to be willing to spend real cash to get real performance. So now's a good time to tell you that it only gets more expensive from here, so if you aren't committed or patient enough to get that money, find a new hobby. Electric superchargers. And I'm not talking about superchargers for electric cars. I do know that actual electric superchargers exist and they are effective. Again, I'm talking about the cheap knockoffs that you find on those websites like eBay and Craigslist. Those $50 intake fans that dare call themselves superchargers is laughable. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about these really shoddy kits that are packaged like toys, and they range anywhere from $40 to $300, and the only demographic naive enough to buy them are young enthusiasts, so please take my warning and don't buy them. If you don't want to take my word for it, then take a professional's. On Mighty Car Mods, they made a video proving that most cheap electric superchargers don't do anything, and at best, they're just pushing extra air, which causes very negligible performance gain. According to their results, you're better off attaching leaf blowers to your car instead. I'm not even joking, because at least that leaf blower will give you horsepower gains. So if you don't want to spend $5,000 on an actual supercharger kit, then spend that $50 on a leaf blower instead. Also, side note, I mentioned that some of these kits do go up to $300, which is quite insane for something you're just getting scammed for. By the time you're spending $300 on these kits, it does yield actual performance results like around 5 to 7 horsepower. While I can't argue with actual results, I can instead give you an alternative. Did you know there's something else you could spend $300 on that gives you 15, 30, if not even more horsepower? It's called a cold air intake, so spend money on that instead. They like to feed on the naivety of new car enthusiasts who aren't looking in the right places. They just know superchargers equals fast, so they just look up things with the key term supercharger. Don't get scammed. Look for actual upgrades like cold air intakes. There are so many things you can spend $300 on for your car that will give it much more horsepower than 5. Overly large rims. Hypercars are the literal fastest of the fast, and they don't even go beyond 20-inch rims. The Bugatti Chiron and Koenigsegg 1-to-1 still use 20-inch rims. If you want 22-inch rims for style, then sure, go for it, I won't stop you. But understand that your car isn't getting any performance gain from it. However, even 20-inch rims are still too big for most beginner sports cars. For example, if you have a base model V6 Mustang or a base model Miata, you're better off sticking with 18-inch rims. If you do add more power or want to autocross the car, then maybe you can upgrade to 19-inch rims. Most 19-inch rims already have access to the same top-of-the-line tires that 20-inch rims have. If you ever do go up to 20-inch, you should be adding more power. Otherwise, those larger rims just mean extra weight, worse fuel economy, reduced performance, and reduced ride quality for cars that don't need them. If you're upgrading the size of the wheels on your car, do your research. If you want performance, don't go too big. If you want style, forget everything I said for this entry. Go smack on those 28-inch rim donks on your car, and you know what, I won't question your life. Just understand that there are consequences to that decision. Alternatively, if you've upgraded your car so much to the point that it's now pushing 600 horsepower, then yes, of course you can get 20s by then. You don't need me to tell you. Just make the proper judgment based on research, based on form evidence, based on what other owners tell you and what they've experienced. But I will say right now that most lightly modded beginner sports cars do not need 20-inch rims. Muffler deletes. For some cars, deleting mufflers will cause a very negligible performance gain, like 1 to 3 horsepower. And even though some people are probably arguing right now, but bladed, that is a performance gain. It comes with some unwanted trade-offs. The most common one I'm going to mention is that muffler deleting usually causes a loss of power on the low end and gain of power on the high end. If you're someone who primarily uses your car for street driving or daily driving as opposed to racing on the track, low-end power is more important than high-end power, so in a way you did lose performance instead of gaining performance. Now of course it's a minimal loss in the same vein that it's a minimal gain. The best choice is to simply opt for an actual aftermarket axle back or cat back system that's engineered for your car. That is the best way to get an exhaust system that gives you noticeable performance. Actual aftermarket exhaust systems also provide more balanced sound, and more importantly, they don't drone the crap out of your car since they're actually engineered for your car. I will say this though, muffler deleting is an easy and cheap sound mod. That's what it is. It's a sound mod. Everyone says it on every other forum. Every owner is going to say it. Like I said, that 3 horsepower gain is so negligible that it's not even worth considering a gain, especially since you actually lose performance on the lower end. That's once again so negligible you probably won't even notice it. So at the end of the day, everything cancels out and it's just for sound. So as long as you understand that you're just muffler deleting for a sound mod and not a performance mod, go ahead and do it. Fake vents. This entry is pretty self-explanatory since the entry itself is rather redundant since it says itself that it is fake. So why do they exist then? The same reason most other entries on this list exist. Style. Apparently it's cool to have non-functioning pointless vents. So cool in fact that manufacturers themselves are including cars like this from factory. If you've got some time on your hands and some skill and dedication, you can make these vents functional by cutting through them. That way your vents are actually open. Such a mind-blowing concept that manufacturers really struggle to understand. Who would have guessed that open vents actually work better than closed ones? Anyways, if you've got the time and dedication to undo the stupid fake vents on your car, I salute you. On the other hand, if you're some racer who's currently buying a fake vent as we speak for the sake of style, why? Why are you subjecting yourself to the pointlessness of a fake vent? They don't make your car look cooler. It's one thing when the manufacturer shoves it down your throat. That's not your fault, I get it. I'm not gonna make fun of someone who has fake vents on a Hyundai Genesis and Kia Stinger or even on the Honda Civic Type R because you're not the person who put them there, the manufacturer did. However, when you yourself are the one committing the atrocity and purposely putting a fake vent on your vehicle, why? Just don't. They don't make your car look cooler, they really don't. It's defeating the whole purpose of a vent. It's supposed to be functional. Big wings. A lot of people also put big wings on for style without even caring for what they actually do to your car. So wings create downforce, and downforce is really good for cornering. But if your car can't even build up the necessary speed to warrant the need for downforce, then you probably don't need a ping pong table sized wing. Also, before someone says that any front wheel drive car with a wing is a ricer, let me tell you why that's incorrect. Front-wheel drive cars do benefit from wings, especially on tracks. If you plan on drag racing a front-wheel drive car, you probably don't need a wing. But when it comes to taking corners, like any other car in the world, front-wheel drive cars, they are subject to aerodynamics. Front-wheel drive cars aren't magically invulnerable to needing downforce. They still need downforce when cornering. However, the main thing is that they still need to be fast enough to have a wing of matching size. I can't help but cringe when I see a bone stock Honda Civic with a trunk-mounted 7 feet wing. It doesn't need a wing that size regardless of situation, whether it's drag racing or track racing. If your car is bone stock, all you're doing is slowing your car down in every facet possible. So you're just making unnecessary drag everywhere you go. So if you do plan on getting a massive wing, please slap on a turbo kit as well. That way when people ask you, you can justify it. And that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoy videos about mods, go check out these other videos I've made discussing car mods. And if you like an automotive channel that uploads regularly, then make sure to subscribe. Other than that, thanks for watching and see y'all next time. Blade Angel out.